Italian, yes. Good evening. Today is February 21st, 2024, and I will now call the Planning Commission meeting to order. Please rise and follow Commissioner Morales in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please face the flag, right hand over your heart, repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. May I now have the Planning Commission Secretary, Rhea, call roll.
Commissioner Lujan,
Present.
Commissioner Sakali,
Present.
Commissioner Morales,
Present.
Vice Chair Guerra,
Here.
and Chair Uba.
Present. Now is the time set aside for oral communications from the Planning Commission. Does any commissioner wish to make an announcement, report on a conference, meeting, or request items for a future agenda? I'll start to my left with Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Madam Chair. None for tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Guerra?
So I've been contacted by several residents from the Treasure Island area in the last couple of weeks, specifically this week, about the project that's going on in Suva. And I told everybody to, they should, get informed and learn what the project is. But the one thing that keeps coming back is that we pulled this on purpose so they wouldn't show up, and so forth. And I wanted to reassure everybody that we don't pull things like thinking that the residents wouldn't show up or forget about it. It's also been on social media that way, that the Planning Commission keeps pulling this on there so we wouldn't. So I just want to make sure, go on the record that we'd like to have the discussion as soon as possible and just for everybody to be informed, but yet we can't make a prejudgment on this until a public hearing. So that's why we reserve our judgment, but we have no intentions of keep postponing it on there to hide anything from anybody on there. I assure you that if I lived on the island, I would want to know what's going on in my neighborhood too. So the quicker the better. So that's it. I just wanted to put that on the record that we're not doing anything about it. Everybody should make their own decisions at that time. Thank you.
Commissioner Lujan?
Nothing for me right now. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Saikali?
None to report.
Thank you. The only thing that I would like to say is thank you all for being here tonight. It's always nice to have our residents at meetings and engage and bring your voice forward. The item for the Foster Bridge thing was taken off the agenda due to the applicant asking for it to be removed. So there will be no hearing on that tonight, and so therefore you won't be able to make comment during that portion, but you're still entitled to make comments during the non-agenda public comments if you choose to. Okay, just wanted to make that clear. And that's all. Does the Community Development Director have a report on a city council action item or any other general updates?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have an update, and I think this is also in reference to item number 1 that was referenced by Commissioner Guerra. The item number 1 includes a request for a general plan amendment and a zone change, a site plan review, a tentative track map, and a density bonus request at the project site that is referenced on agenda item number 1, which is 7360 Foster Bridge Boulevard. This is a proposal to facilitate the construction of a 33-unit multifamily residential townhome development. As noted on tonight's agenda, which is copies are available in the back, this item will be continued to a future meeting date to be determined, and this is at the request of the applicant. At the back of the room and also on the dais, each commissioner has copies of the continuance letters that were submitted by the applicant, the Olson Company, to city staff. In those copies, you'll see there's 2 continuance letter requests on 2 separate days. The first letter was received on February 13th, and it's a request to continue the item to the March 6th Planning Commission date. And then the subsequent letter was received on February 21st. Sorry, my apologies. February 21st, which was today, which is a request to continue the item to the March 20th Planning Commission meeting. These requests are partially related to the applicant has submitted supplemental materials to city staff within the last few days, and also has indicated that an additional supplemental submittal will be made to city staff for review to augment existing materials that are under the city's review under the Community Development Department. And so although the applicant's most recent request is to continue the item to the March 20th meeting, staff is recommending tonight, has placed this on the agenda for continuance to a future date. That would be referenced as a future date uncertain. And what that means is once the item is a new meeting date is identified after the review of those items, then city staff will send public hearing notices to all the residents and owners that are located within 500 feet of the project site, informing them of the exact meeting date, the public hearing date that would take place. City staff will also be re-noticing the public notice in the newspaper, as we did for tonight's meeting. Tonight, we also have a sign-in sheet at the back of the room, just confirming that the sign-in sheet is in the back of the room. At the last Planning Commission meeting, we also had a sign-in sheet. Anyone who would like to receive future notifications of any updates on this project can provide us their contact information. We have a few folks already on an existing interested parties list for this project, and they would be receiving notices directly from staff on any updates or any future notices on this project. And so with that, tonight, the recommendation is to continue this item to a future date to be determined. And then once that date is determined, we will be re-noticing as I indicated earlier. Thank you, Chair Uva.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that great explanation. Moving forward with our agenda, in relation to the next two items on our agenda, due to a conflict of interest, I have to recuse myself from the public hearing for PLN 23-00039 and PLN 230043, as I own a rental property which is in 500 feet of these two subject things. So I have to step back and allow Vice Chair Guerra to run this portion of the meeting.
So now is the time set aside for the public hearing for conditional use permit application, PLN 23-00039. Does staff have proof of publication? Yes, we do. Great. Will the Community Development Director introduce staff making the presentation?
Thank you, Vice Chair Guerra. Tonight's presentation will be provided by our Associate Planner, Jerry Clemente.
Good evening, Vice Chair Guerra and the members of the Planning Commission. On the agenda, we have a conditional use permit for a new wireless communication facility at 8327 Davis Street. Staff would like to make aware of the Planning Commission that I will be presenting two conditional use permits for a new wireless communication facility at the same site. Starting this presentation first with AT&T, followed by Verizon Wireless on the next presentation. The applicant is Jeremy Siegel, representing AT&T. Although due to some unforeseen circumstances, he was unable to attend tonight, but he did set another representative in his place, Sonal Talk Core. The property is outlined in red and is located on the corner of Davis and Dolan Street. The subject site is zoned for hospital medical arts, which extends to the north, west, and east all the way to Brookshire Avenue, which primarily caters to professional services and medical office uses. Properties to the south of the site is zoned for multifamily residential. The wireless facilities are proposed in locations to fill the gaps for coverage for the wireless carriers. The site is located on the map as blue and shows that the existing coverage area in green, yellow, and purple. Green being the strongest coverage for most in-building services, yellow representing for in-transit coverage, on-street and open coverage, and purple for outdoor services, which include on-street and open coverage, but not in the in-vehicle coverage. The map details lacks the coverage for in-building services, which is ultimately what prompted the need for a new facility. Here is the new coverage map. The new facility will result in a greater service area that fills the gap that was evident on the previous map. Okay. The applicant is here today to propose for a new wireless communication facility on top of the existing building that mainly occupies professional and medical office use. The new wireless communication facilities will consist of 16 antennas, 48 remote radio units, 9 surge suppressors, 2 GPS antennas, and a new equipment platform on the roof to accommodate AT&T's cabinet and additional miscellaneous equipment to assist in the powering of those antennas. The current layout of the roof consists of commercial ACs, air ducts, that mainly concentrate in the middle region of the building structure. Highlighted in red are the various locations where AT&T proposes to place their equipment. In reference to the co-location of the other wireless carrier equipment that's highlighted in yellow indicate the proposed placement of the Verizon Wireless, which will be further detailed in the upcoming presentation. Here's a zoomed layout of the mechanical equipment being proposed by AT&T. Each section will utilize a support frame made up of 4 antennas and 8 surge compressors mounted on it. 3 sections of the support frame are to be placed on the west section of the rooftop, facing north, west, and south. The last section of the antenna will be located on the east portion of the building, facing Dolan Street. There will be a proposed steel platform utilizing a 10 by 12 space to house battery cabinets to power those antennas. In order to preserve the building's visual aesthetics, a roof screening was proposed. Staff collaborated with both the wireless carriers and together developed a rooftop design. This screening, highlighted in red, incorporates the existing architectural elements, textures, and color of the building to ensure maximum concealment of the equipment and the antennas. The height of the existing building stands at 40 feet 5 inches from grade to rooftop. A proposed roof screening to conceal the wireless equipment will incorporate a 10-foot and 5-inch high parapet extending to the building's height to 50 feet and 10 inches. The roof screening complies with the maximum height permitted in the zoning designation of hospital medical that stands at 75 feet or 5 stories or whichever is less. The proposed parapet will mimic the effects of the additional floor by utilizing black spandrel glass for Fox windows and utilizing stucco tan color to match the existing color of the main building. Here we have the rear section of the building structure with the roof screening wrapped around the perimeter of the building. During the design review committee, the fire department expressed concerns regarding the design and safety aspects, particularly in regards to the midsection of the parapet design. Specifically, they highlighted the issues related to the heightened roof screening, emphasizing the need to ensure an unobstructed access for fire ladder deployment and implementing safety measures to prevent steep inclines for fire staff accessing that roof. Therefore, the midsection of the buildings, highlighted in red, remains free and clear for the first midsection of 92 linear feet. Here we have the photo simulations with the existing building on top and the proposed new parapet screen proposed on the bottom. This is located facing northeast from Davis Street. This is northwest facing from Davis Street. And here we have the southwest view facing Dolan Avenue. Overall, staff believes that the applicant are proposing the antenna in a location that screens the structure and provides a greater coverage area. Staff can make all required findings in a positive manner and recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution and approve PLN 23-0039 and adopt Resolution 244020. Thank you.
Does the Planning Commission have any questions of staff?
I do. I'm just curious, was any structural analysis done on the building roof to withstand all the weight of the units?
Could you turn on your mic, please? It's on there on the right side. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Was there any structural analysis done on the roof to make sure it withstands all the weight of the units?
Primarily, the particular review was in terms of the design. The structural components are usually, and calculations are usually referred and looked at upon during plan check, during the plan check process.
So was it done?
I don't have a comment on that, but we do have.
Through the chair, if I may, thank you, Jerry. Yes, to add to Jerry's comment, the project goes through design review, and the items typically for wireless communications facilities as presented to the Planning Commission have gone through the design review but don't undergo a full structural calculation plan check process through the permitting or plan check process. But the applicant, when it's time for the applicant to speak, I think they can speak to, typically the applicant does conduct some analysis on their end on what they're designing to ensure that the additional screening can meet the requirements of the building code, and that will ultimately pass the test of the plan check review process. So I think the applicant can speak to a little bit more to what they've done behind the scenes as they were proposing this design, but ultimately it would be going through the city's formal plan check process after receiving approval.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have any questions of the staff? Mr. Commissioner Morales or Commissioner Lujan?
None.
So, my only question is, so you mentioned about, and I saw on the pictures here, this, brown color, it's gonna be matching on there, but we know it's gray now, right? So are they gonna paint the whole building?
No, it's a currently tanned color. So
Okay,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
call it tan, I call it gray. Okay, I'm old. All right, so I was there yesterday and I was there last week. It looked gray to me, light gray. Okay, so but this is different. This is brown. So they're going to paint the whole building too?
So the color of the paint that they're going to use is to match the existing color of the main structure. So it will match. Yeah.
But it's not what's in these pictures is my point, right? Okay, that's as close as you can get on the printer. I get it. Okay, I just want to make sure that it's all going to be on there. So, and how did this come about? Because I love this. I had to count the number of floors, to see on the combination and so forth. And I've been very critical of, of the big ugly towers that go 50 feet in the air. This is great. How did this come about?
It was a great coordination with the both wireless communication carriers and as well as staff. So
Okay.
And looking at previous
You guys can
examples.
take credit if you want. I appreciate it. I think it's just a lot better than the ugly antennas we've had before. So thank you. Okay. All right. So before so there be no further questions from for the staff. So before I open the public hearing, call the applicant and their representative, this would be the time for the planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions that the commissioners may have had about the project. So I'll start, Commissioner Lujan.
There's nothing for me.
So, Commissioner,
None for me either.
okay. Commissioner
for me
Morales? No, I already mentioned I've gone by the project several times, and I want to see what it looked like at different times of the day and without rain. So I have been to the site many times. Public hearing is now open. So will the applicant or the representative please come forward to give testimony?
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Sonal Takwar. I am here with Yukon Group on behalf of AT&T. I would like to say that I have read the conditions of approval that have been presented, and AT&T is amenable to those. The project is also compliant with the FCC standards. In response to the question, Commissioner Sekali? Okay. Sekali presented, when we initially were on the rooftop investigating whether or not this site would be feasible, we did look at the existing conditions of the rooftop, and if there were concerns, then we would have investigated that further. Once we got the green light, if you will, or rather felt comfortable that planning was recommending approval and supportive of the design, internally we have initiated the structural calculations, and as our staff planner indicated, once they are finalized and stamped off by our engineer, we will be submitting those into building plan check for review and approval.
The only question is, so, you know, AT&T is on the front end and Verizon's on the back end, and I read the report on there, the fire has to have an avenue to get up to the roof and be able to put out a fire in the building both ways. Is there a way that, is there a reason why you're both not together on one side, so half the building has a thing, instead of having it like, you know, the Noah's Ark, one on each end kind of thing, and then open the middle, or, and maybe that's just, you guys just wanted to do it this way?
There's different reasons. One, initially you want to make sure that there's enough space to accommodate the equipment of both carriers. Similarly, every wireless carrier has separation distances that need to be maintained in order to assure that there is not interference between both facilities. AT&T's facility and their engineers' requirements need 4 different sectors. So for that reason, they've spread out along the building.
Okay. And is this more expensive than a regular cell tower, or and from a cost standpoint for you guys, from your standpoint?
In comparison to maybe a ground build that is a
Or
faux
the
tree.
ugly poles that I keep talking about?
If they're done well, they're not ugly. But
Well, you guys
yes,
have missed on a couple here, I'm sorry to say.
No, I'm just,
Nothing personal.
I'm just joking. The rooftop facilities typically are more expensive because there's a lot more structural support and consideration that needs to go into that, and of course, making sure that the design presented is seamless.
Okay, great, thank you. And you guys are splitting the cost of this? I mean, I guess you guys pay for your own and Verizon pays for their own on the side, but.
Correct. As far as who will be the point person or what carrier will be the point person when it goes forward to building plan check, AT&T will be taking the lead on that.
Okay. Okay, may staff confirm there's been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence or oppositions.
Okay, great, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
So is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposition of the applicant? Okay. There's no need for rebuttal from the applicant, so I'm gonna go ahead and seeing no opposition, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing. Does the planning staff have a recommendation for us at this time?
Yes, planning recommends the approval of the PLN 23-0039 and the resolution.
Okay. So it's now time for the planning commission to deliberate. Does the commission have any questions at this time, or would the commission like to discuss this item? So I'll start over here on my left, Commissioner Lujan.
There's no question for staff.
Okay.
We wait for us.
Okay, well, this is our time to make that.
No further comments.
Okay, all right, and Commissioner Morales?
No comments, just I'm glad to see that the applicant went above and beyond, putting up a parapet and pretty much the necessary screening so we can see it. I was actually surprised when I first saw the plan. said, wow, is that another floor added? But did a good job in camouflaging it. Staff too, thanks for doing that. And other than that, I don't have any comments.
Yeah. I'm going to echo that and say I was really happy, and I'm glad that everybody worked together. And from a city perspective, thank to the staff for helping to come up with this plan with both the applicants. The ingenuity and the design process, you guys know me, I like design and I want it to look nice for our residents, so this hit it on there. So how do I put this in right? Please continue to be aggressive in this area. So thank you very much. You guys were great and very original design, and I want to thank both the applicants. So what's the pleasure of the Planning Commission? May I have a motion at this time?
I move a motion to pass.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the conditional use permit application, PLN 23-00039. May we have a vote, please? Okay.
Where did I press again? Didn't pop up. Where's popped up?
Okay, great.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So, okay, so it passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Uva abstaining because of a potential conflict of property next by. So the action of the plan, no, I don't have to say that because the applicant wouldn't appeal it. So now, so thank you for AT&T. We're now going to do the same process for the conditional use permit application, PLN 23-00030. Does the staff have proof of publication?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Will the Community Development Director introduce staff making the presentation?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Guerra. Again, we have Associate Planner Jerry Clemente presenting this item.
So remember, this is the back part of the building. No, I'm kidding. Oh, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Last on the agenda is the conditional use permit for a new wireless communication facility, again at 8327 Davis. As previously mentioned, this rooftop will be co-located with AT&T. The applicant, Michael Hasegawa, is here today representing Verizon Wireless. Again, this is, and highlighted in red, represents the subject site. Again, the zone for this particular area is zone for hospital medical arts, surrounding to the northwest and east, and R3 to the south. Verizon Wireless is seeking to expand their bandwidth range for their service. The subject site is highlighted in blue on this map, while various colors such as red, yellow, and blue reflect a different signal strength. Red indicates a strong signal level, yellow signifies moderate level, and blue indicates poor to no signal level. The map illustrated areas are lacking coverage, prompting the necessity for a new facility. Here we have the updated coverage map. The implementation of the new facility will result in a greater service area, filling the gap as reflected in the previous map. Verizon Wireless new wireless enclosed site will comprise of 12 antennas, 12 remote radio units, 1 microwave antenna, 1 GPS antenna, and a new equipment platform and cabinets with the minor equipment that would be installed to support the functionality of those antennas. Utilizing the same rooftop as the other wireless carrier, Verizon Wireless proposes to install their equipment in the highlighted area that's in red. Here's the detailed layout of the proposed wireless equipment. The left section of the slide reflects 3 antenna sections. Each of those sections will consist of support frames supporting 4 antennas and 4 surge compressors. The top section of the support frame will be the mounted antenna and will be placed on the northern east section of the rooftop. The 2 sections on the bottom antennas will be placed on each corner of the south section of the building. Additionally, a steel platform occupying a space of 12 feet, 6 inches by 22 will be installed to house battery cabinets for powering those antennas. The next 4 slides will be just a brief recap of the roof screening that was mentioned in the first presentation. The area highlighted in red represents the screening for the wireless equipment for your reference. The highlighted in red is the wireless equipment that would be concealed behind the raised parapet. The parapet will incorporate black spandrel glass and Fox windows and utilizing stucco tan color to match the existing color of the main building. Again, here we have the rear section of the building, proposed the roof screening around the perimeter of the building. And as mentioned, the fire department requires the design to ensure unobstructed fire ladder access and will be deemed safe for all fire staff. Therefore, the midsection will be open for the first 92 linear feet. Again, these are the photo sims facing the northeast of Davis Street. Another section facing northwest from Davis Street. And this photo sims facing the southwest of Dolan Avenue. Overall, staff believes that the applicant are proposing the antenna to be placed in a location that is effectively screened and structured with offering a border coverage area. Staff can make all required findings in a positive manner and recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution and approve PLN 23-00043 and adopt Resolution 24-4021. Thank you.
Does the Planning Commission have any questions of staff?
No questions for me.
No questions.
My only quick question is, that you said the spandrel glass on that level, I guess, is that the same quality as glass as the other windows? I would imagine it might be a cheaper glass because it's not gonna do anything except look that way.
It serves as a decorative sort of tile, right, to give the appearance of the tinted black glass that's already existing on the main structure.
Okay, all right, so it won't be exactly, but it'll be as close as you can.
Correct.
Material. Okay, great. So before I open the public hearing and call the applicant or the representatives, this would be the time for planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions the commissioners may have had about this project. Any commissioners?
None for me.
None for me.
Okay, great. All right, so thank you. So the public hearing is now open. Will the applicant or the representative please come forward to give testimony?
Hello, Michael Asagawa for Verizon Wireless.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
I would like to thank the incredible due diligence of all parties involved, staff, fire department, the city of Downey. We really appreciate it. It was a process getting through all the designs and coming to an amenable design that was acceptable to everybody. But a lot of hard work and really appreciative to staff.
Right, okay. I think the only question I may have, just out of curiosity, so why here? Did you guys get together and say, okay, this is an area that we want that's going to be more centrally located?
Yes, so our site acquisition team, fantastic site acquisition team, they were looking in the area. The radio frequency engineers send a very detailed, hyper-specific location that they're looking for their to relieve congestion for existing cell towers, or if it was the radio signals from the wireless facilities aren't reaching certain areas. We are really fortunate because our site acquisition team was able to coordinate with UConn Group and metaphorically kill two birds with one stone. This site hit all the criteria. The height was tall enough to propagate the signal. It was a rooftop facility, which enables it to be significantly more inconspicuous than trees. And we were very fortunate. All the stars aligned, and we were able to get a design that was acceptable. And from previous comments, we're very preferred considering the other alternatives.
Do you guys work together often? I mean, your competitors, or at least the main one, AT&T and Verizon?
I unfortunately can't say, as a whole. I do know that there's a lot of, interrelated business relationships, leasing and things like that. This was a very fortunate situation because we were able to show a site. We have different radio frequency objectives. That's why the sectors for AT&T point a signal a certain direction, and then the antenna sectors for Verizon point a different direction. So we were very lucky that we didn't have any overlapping coverage of the antennas are shooting into each other, with the radio waves shooting into each other. So we're very fortunate. This is one of those great situations. Hopefully in the future there are more.
You guys split the cost of this, and what is the cost on this to do this for each of you?
Normally, I would have to speak to our construction manager. So we had all of the engineers, the construction managers at the site at one time with the landlord to ascertain if this was a viable candidate. And when we're doing that, the AT&T construction manager, I believe, was represented by UConn, and they were able to relay that back in the Verizon one. I know this is going to be more than $250,000. I'm not sure the exact number, but normally rooftop facilities are about $250,000, but I couldn't give you an exact number. We'll come to that number after a lot of discussion with AT&T.
And how much do you guys pay the building owner to allow that up there, and for how many years?
The terms are always very different. There's a variety of factors that go into the lease. They're proprietary, and I unfortunately actually don't know the exact lease. Our site acquisition team handles that, but I unfortunately couldn't provide that information.
Okay. And how long are they committed for? Like 10, 20 years or whatever?
It depends. I know and the staff can correct me, but if there is a discontinuous of use, we have 90 days, I believe it is, or a certain amount of time to take it down, but for the very foreseeable future, for years.
I'm asking that because there's a T-Mobile one on the YMCA building, and the YMCA is building a new YMCA.
Yes.
And T-Mobile wouldn't allow it to be moved, and it's going to cost $400,000 for the Y to just move that on there, because T-Mobile said, no, you're stuck on this. So we could have left the building vacant and on there. I just want to make sure our property owners knows that,
And that T-Mobile site is YMCA that is, I believe, directly like east of our, yes. I'm aware that was happening a little bit, but the landlords, it's a very complicated lease procedure, and all parties involved are diligently aware of the terms and future. But yes, it can be a pretty expensive endeavor.
Okay, thank you. May staff confirm if there's any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence or opposition at this moment.
Okay, great. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor or opposition to the of the applicant? Okay, seeing no one on there, thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing is now closed. Does the Planning Commission have any recommendation for us?
Staff recommends the approval of PLN 23-0043 and adopt resolution 24-4021.
It is now time for the Planning Commission to deliberate. Do any of the commissioners have any questions at this time, or would the commission like to discuss this item?
None for me.
Okay, all right, seeing none on there. So what's the pleasure of the Planning Commission? May I have a motion if so desired? Anybody?
I motion to pass PLN 23-0043.
I'll second that then, I guess. So now all four of us are on the record for one of the two part. We'll take the back end, Commissioner Lujan, they got the front end. So, okay, so now that we have a motion and it's been seconded on there, can we have the approve on there? May we have a vote, please? Okay, and this will be final unless it gets appealed to the City Council within the next 15 days. So at this time, we're going to go back and get Commissioner Uva. So the non-agenda public comment is coming up. I know a lot of people are waiting for that, and we're here to listen. And I'll let Commissioner Uva make this part. I mean, Chairwoman Uva, sorry.
Okay, we now move on to a non-agenda public comment. Persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on city business not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on any item listed on the agenda other than public hearing items may do so at this time. It is requested but not required that you state your name, your address, and the subject matter upon which you wish to speak. Please limit your comments to no more than 4 minutes. Pursuant to the Brown Act, no discussion or action other than a brief response, referral to the city planning staff, or schedule for a subsequent agenda shall be taken by the Planning Commission on any issue brought forth that is not listed on the agenda. Anyone wishing to come forward may do so at this time.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm here to express my opposition to the proposed 33-unit townhouse project at the former church site located at 7360 Foster Bridge Boulevard. While I appreciate the need for housing development, I believe this particular project will have detrimental effects on our community, and I urge the Planning Commission to reconsider its approval. The primary concern is the significant increase in density that is the townhome project will introduce to our neighborhood. The city's general plan land use element designates the proposed project site as low-density residential, which allows 8.9 dwelling units per acre. The developer is proposing a general plan amendment to change the land use designation to medium density, thereby allowing a density of up to 24 units per acre. The proposed project density is 20.6 units per acre. This is more than double what is currently allowed. Additionally, Table 2.8-1 in the mitigated negative declaration prepared for this project indicates adjacent land uses to the project site all being low density or open space. Why would it be in the city's best interest to change that to medium density residential as the developer is proposing? Our community is characterized by detached single-family dwelling homes, and the addition of increased density to the area will disrupt the established harmony. The proposed project does not align with the existing neighborhood character and could negatively impact property values and residents' quality of life. Furthermore, the increased traffic resultant from the construction and occupancy of 33 townhomes will exacerbate the already congested area in the morning and evening rush hours. With multiple schools within blocks from the proposed site, the additional traffic will pose serious safety concerns for children and parents navigating the neighborhood. The potential for accidents and gridlock is alarming, and it is crucial to prioritize the safety of our community members, especially younger residents who frequent the surrounding schools. A project of this magnitude is better suited for major thoroughfares and not in residential neighborhoods. Parking problems are also a major concern associated with this project. The developer is only proposing a total of 71 parking spaces for the entire site. Of the 66 parking spaces will be garages, and only 5 will be guest parking spaces. We all know oftentimes people use garage space for storage and not to park their vehicles. Where else will these residents of this project be parking? And is it realistic to believe that there will only be 5 guests at a time at a 33-unit project? The current infrastructure does not seem equipped to handle the parking demand of a 33-unit, 3-bedroom per unit development project, and the overflow of parked vehicles onto residential streets will undoubtedly cause inconvenience and frustration for existing residents. This will further strain the sense of community and disrupt the ease of daily life for those who have chosen this neighborhood for its peaceful and spacious atmosphere. Moreover, the proposed project raises concerns about the strain on existing infrastructure. Overburdened infrastructure could lead to service disruptions, delays in emergency response times, and compromise the overall well-being of our community. I had a representative from the developer knock on my door, and as I was asking questions pertaining to the project and the number of affordable units the project developer was proposing and what concessions they were requesting, I was given incorrect information. As we all know, this project will require a density bonus. I specifically asked if a density bonus was being proposed, and I was told no. Is this the type of the developer that the city wants to work with, one that misleads its residents? I understand there is a need for additional housing, especially affordable housing, and I'm not opposed to that, but this is not the neighborhood for a housing project of this intensity. In conclusion, I respectfully request that the Planning Commission reconsider the approval of a 33-unit townhome project at the former church site. It's crucial to prioritize long-term stability, safety, and well-being of our neighborhood. Short-term development.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to submit something on behalf of another household member for the record.
Sure.
Through the chair, if I may just clarify, related to public comments, the item number 1 is not a public hearing item at this time. So just to reiterate to the public and for the record, the Planning Commission will not be responding to any comments. And just for further clarification, the Planning Commission has not reviewed this item in question, the 7360 Foster Bridge Road. The Planning Commission has not taken any action on this item, and the Planning Commission has not received a staff report from staff. Neither an analysis or any conclusion has been drawn related to this project. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, for the reassurances and assurances, yes, it was pulled from tonight's agenda and postponed to a different night, no matter how much the community development director tries to dissuade you and discourage you from getting up and commenting as a public hearing item on the agenda, which it was, number 1. That is a tactic that is used from our commissions and our council, is trying to dissuade you and to shut down your speech and your opinions as often as they can, because they don't want to hear from you. They have in mind they're going to go ahead with this developer, and they're proposing ADUs as well as destroying your single-family dwelling neighborhood. And that is from your governor, Gavin Newsom. And our current mayor, his relatives are in real estate, working with the Lakuku lady. They want to put ADUs in your neighborhoods as well and destroy your single-family dwelling neighborhoods as often as they can. They're proposing to put in 71 parking spaces maximum. Now think about that. If you put a car in each one of those spaces, 71 more vehicles. There at Foster Bridge Road in Suva, it will be a scrum of traffic over there. They are here to destroy your single-family dwelling. And they're going to make affordable housing, rental units. Nothing wrong with rental units, but not in your neighborhood, not at the island. If you want buildings like this, the lady was correct. This is not the place for it. You can have it at the corner of Downey and Firestone. Instead of a Shake Shack on the corner, you can put a 20-story building of apartments there. Or at the CVS building that is empty next to Diosa. I'm sure they would love to have some affordable housing rental units right next to them. Got plenty of space. How about over at the Honda place they're going to put over there? You had plenty of space to put affordable housing there, but no, you chose to put it in their neighborhood. That's interesting. That is the motivation. That is the motive. They want to destroy your single-family dwelling neighborhood, but you have to get down here and speak every single time. No matter how often they tell you we're not going to act on it, it's not going to be addressed. They're taking away 4 more minutes of your time to voice your opinion. And it's going on in every city in this state. They're squashing your free speech as much as they possibly can. Don't give up and keep talking. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, members of the panel. I stand before you to express my opposition to the proposed development of the 33 condominiums. Treasure Island, a hidden gem in Downey, is a source of pride for our community. It saddens us to think that the cherished Little Blue Church on the corner might be at risk. This historical church has been an integral part of our community for many years, providing a sense of peace for all who pass by. I urge you to reconsider the impact of this development, especially considering the existing traffic congestion on Suva and Bluff. When people seek shortcuts on Google Maps, they are directed through Suva, adding to the already overwhelming traffic on the bridge. It is crucial to conduct a thorough traffic analysis, a responsibility of the environmental risk assessment to mitigate the potential for traffic-related issues. I propose exploring alternative locations for the condominiums, such as the vacant land near the Old Salem Hospital, near Gardendale and the Downey Courthouse. How about where the All-American store used to be at? Both locations offer viable alternatives that won't jeopardize the unique reputation of Treasure Island. How about considering enhancing our community by revitalizing the church in that area? Perhaps a transformative makeover could attract the interest from many religious communities looking to rent or purchase the property. This approach could not only preserve the cultural and historical significance of the church, but also prove beneficial for our neighborhood. Preserving our community's identity is paramount, and I implore you to carefully consider the consequences of overdevelopment in our beloved area. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Thank you for your time. I'm here in opposition, just like everybody else. I've lived on Suva for over 25 years. I'm here to make sure you take into consideration the intangibles. There are times I can't even cross the street when my neighbor, my elderly neighbor in her 80s, asks me for assistance, and a few times in emergencies. I can't even cross the street. I have to literally go about 2 blocks just to cross the street. The parking situation, again, I live right near Suva and Guatemala. You try to park, we were discussing this with one of my neighbors. You try to exit your own driveway, people get angry. You get people honking at you. You try to cross the street, they ignore. Last summer, my next door neighbor, somebody crashed into his patio. We had another instance a few weeks ago, also on Suva. I found beer bottles, people coming through the middle of the night, throwing them on my lawn as they're passing by. I have to put up my garbage cans, even though on Friday, because there's not enough parking space. We have young adults who cannot no longer afford to leave their homes. So you have multiple house, at least one of my neighbors has 5 cars to one single residence. They can't accommodate in their driveways, they park in the street. If we are adding additional building, condos to that unit, it's just gonna exacerbate the problem. My issue is, it's like, okay, you want to park, if you're going to do that, then lower my property taxes because you're damaging my property values. The first thing, if somebody gets injured, because once a day or every other day, you hear an ambulance or a police officer going towards the island. God help the person, if you approve it, who dies or doesn't have any service because they couldn't get to that due to the additional traffic. I really do think you need to go there during those hours. You have to do something to block off the traffic because everybody is using it. Again, it takes me, if I want to cross the street, even to take the Downey link, it's about 3 or 4 minutes just to cross the street at Suva, because nobody wants to adhere to the stop signs. You start going across the street, they start honking at you. how is that being a residential area? I understand again, and I agree with everybody here about alternative sites, but that's not a situation there. It's just gonna bottleneck the whole area. Just to get in and out, you're just gonna add additional traffic. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for having us. And we've had a couple of individuals come up here that were very articulate as to why not, and I'm here as well as to support them and my opposition to the building of those townhomes. I sit on the Public Works Commission, and I can tell you I'm not as involved in the Planning Commission, but I will tell you that one of the Public Works is traffic, and not only being on that particular commission, but being a resident there, I could tell you that I'm not sure how many of you live in that neck of the woods, but between 4 and 6:30, it's about a 45-minute stop there. You're literally stuck bumper to bumper in the mornings between 6:30 in the morning to 9 in the morning. That's your bumper to bumper there. And I don't know why. I was honored with Steve and John reaching out to me from the Almost Company or construction company. We had a nice lunch yesterday trying to talk to me as to how this is so much better. I shared a concern with him about, from what I'm hearing from the residents, is that there's someone knocking on the residents' doors, kind of bullying them and fear-mongering them, telling them that this is better to the alternative. We're going to take care of you, and you better sign now or the next project's going to be worse. There's something I spoke with Steve and John about, and they were aware of this, so they did not deny it, that there is someone going out there. I am a little disappointed in the commission tonight because obviously a couple of you mentioned that you're aware that there's going to be public comments, and you're saying, hey, you know what, kind of hold on your public comments. For future, we haven't read this. Well, at the last meeting, I think there was about 20 residents that spoke, so maybe it's time that we get up there and start looking into this because it's obviously a concern and a pinpoint for a lot of our residents. It's also come to my attention that some of you may not live in Downey, and that when something similar to this happened in your community, you fought it tooth and nail. So why would you want it in our city, in our community, in our area, where it's going to, again, I haven't, Mr. Guerra, I haven't confirmed this. It's just come to my attention, so we could talk after and see if it's true or not. But the point is that I would invite all of you to go out there and take your own survey and your own report as to the traffic and the congestion and what it would do to our community on that neck of the woods, and see what we could do to find alternatives. Again, I get it. We're looking for more low-income housing or housing in general. I get it. I know that's a state mandate, but is that the best area for the city of Downey, and what is it doing? And I would encourage you to try to walk in the morning or in the afternoon. I live on Ivel, 7431 Ivel Street, and I can't walk my dogs or my daughters. There's no sidewalks, which I kind of loved. I love the darkness. I love that school, the single family, and I can't walk across there because there are people speeding down Guatemala, down Suva, because they probably get so frustrated of being stuck in traffic for 45 minutes. And as the gentleman from Steve and John said, they said, well, we did a traffic report and it's only gonna add one more car every 4 minutes. I don't know how they came up with that, but again, one more car every 4 minutes is a lot of additional traffic and combustion in there. So that's my take. I want to share what the residents are sharing with me. And again, more than anything, I encourage you to take a walk or just a drive down there between 4 and 6:30. And I would also encourage you to make it a point to read the environmental report and the traffic report. That's, I believe it's on our Downey website, so we could go ahead and address our residents properly. Our residents here, we have to talk because a lot of us take the time. We have kids, you put it on the agenda, we expect to talk about it. So if we're here, we're gonna use our time. And just like you made the time to be here because it's not a paid position. You make your time elements. You make sure your kids are taken care of and whatnot. So do we. So please just give us the right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I don't move too fast, but I was here last week. My name's Alan Tyler. Been on the island for about 52 years, so I've seen a lot. Now, everybody's sky's falling, the traffic. Okay, there is going to be a lot of traffic, and you all know that. If you don't know it, you're not in this world. But I believe it was last Thursday, my cohort and I were out getting signatures. At the time of school let out, about 2:45, the little school there, and here comes the emergency fire engine, the paramedics, all that, here they come. What do you think happens? They didn't come at all. They were stuck in that traffic. I pulled my thing out, my watch out, and started timing it. 10 minutes it took them to get from the school down the thing. 10 minutes, the guy's dead.
It's not fair to say we don't care. That's the only comment I want to say. It's like, yeah, you're ad-libbing, but anyway, sorry. I know, we're not supposed to have comment, but when somebody tells me I don't care about somebody dying or living, I take exception to that.
Anyone else wishing to come forward? Okay, so we can close the non-agenda public comment.
And through the chair, just to remind the members of the public and just for further clarification, tonight's item, agenda number 1, this is the first time that the item is actually noticed as a public hearing item. I know members of the public attended the last Planning Commission meeting on February 7th, but that actual date was not an agendized, it was not a public hearing for an item. There was apparently a rumor circulating around that the Planning Commission was going to hear the item at the last Planning Commission meeting, but it was not something that was noticed by the city. It's not a meeting that was set by the city. It was just a rumor that was circulating, and that's why we had members of the public come to the meeting at that time. Tonight is the first time that the Planning Commission has such item on the agenda, and as previously noted, will be heard at a future meeting, and when that meeting is set, the date is set, city staff will be following state law to notice members of the public, and will also be sending the notice to anyone that's provided their information on the sign-in list in the back of the room, and that has also previously provided us that information. Any member of the public that would like to view any of the documents that have been referenced or that are already on our website can come to City Hall First Floor Planning Division. We also, as I noted at the last meeting, have the project planner, Alfonso Hernandez, here today, who can also answer any questions any member of the public has tonight, or set up a individual meeting either by phone or in person or via Zoom if that's more convenient to their schedules to answer any questions any person may have. Thank you.
Okay, great. We will now move on to the consent calendar items. I will need an approval of the minutes from the meeting of February 7th, 2024 for the Planning Commission meeting.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. May we have a vote electronically? Okay. So it's been approved. No, is it? Yes, unanimously.
Yes, motion passed.
Okay, great. Any other business? I don't think we have any other business, correct? None? Okay. Does the Community Development Director have any additional comments?
I do. Let me just pull up my note here, hopefully. I would like to share that there's a training opportunity for planning commissioners, and it's the Planning Commissioners Academy. For those of you where we've had the one-on-ones recently to onboard you or to give you a refresher on being a planning commissioner, we provided that information in your packet. The Planning Commissioners Academy will be taking place fairly locally in Long Beach from March 6th through March 8th. Tomorrow, Ria will be sending you an email asking if you could RSVP to her if you would like to attend the Planning Commissioners Academy. If you could provide us that RSVP by the latest Tuesday, the 27th, that would be the most ideal, so we can meet the registration deadline, which is the following day. And that would be, the registration would be a cost that would be covered by the city as a training opportunity, being a planning commissioner. Given that it's local, it's anticipated that you would just attend during the day for those sessions. The link that Ria will provide will also have the day's itinerary, so you can get a feel for some of the training opportunities. If you're only, for example, able to attend a part of it, I think that's highly encouraged as well. So that is all I have for today. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Can I ask a question? So it's come up 2 meetings in a row that one of us doesn't live in the city of Downey. That's the insinuation that I keep getting. So we've all been verified that we all live in the city of Downey, I assume, because it's by law
Yes,
we have to.
thank you for that, Vice Chair Guerra. All the members of the Planning Commission are residents of the city of Downey. John is the city attorney. I am the director of community development. Don't have such a requirement. So maybe perhaps there's confusion about who up here is on the commission, but for clarification, all the commissioners are residents of the city. Thank you, Vice Chair Guerra.
I just wanted to get that on the record because it's insulting to us. Yeah.
So thank you, Vice
Appreciate
Guerra
that.
and Chair Uva. If any member of the public has any questions for any of us staff members, I will be available as well for any questions.
Absolutely. Okay, seeing no other business, we are adjourned. It is 7:38, and we are adjourned to the next meeting on March 6, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. here at City Hall. Thank you.